Hello everyone, my name is Leuis from BSED Science 3A, and in this video I am going to present my compilations in the online learning worksheets in the course Contemporary Literature. So let's start with the online learning worksheet number 3, and it's all about a folk story. The date of submission is on September 4, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. and I submitted it on September 4, 2021 at 6 p.m. So the folk story is all about the legend of Barangay Balod, and the town is Capoocan, Leyte. So, the Balod is a small barangay in Capoocan, Leyte that lies near the coastal line of the municipality. The means of livelihood in our barangay is fishing, since most of the residents are living near the seashore. Our barangay is known to have abundant harvest in seafoods like fishes, shrimps, lobsters, shells, and crabs. It is believed that our barangay got its name from the word balud, which is locally known as sea waves. But there is also a popular story behind as to why our barangay is called balud. Based from the oral traditional story from some elderly residents in our place, about a century ago, there is only a small number of residents living in our barangay. Most of the residents are poor, and their main livelihood to earn money is only through fishing. During those times, there is a famous young fisherman named Unding. He is known because of his good skills in fishing and his generosity. At his very young age, he learned how to fish because he was taught by his father. One day, Onding was invited by one of his friends to join them have a drink together with other fishermen in the evening, for they will have a small celebration because it is his friend's birthday. He was told that it would be the rest day and a thanksgiving for the abundant harvests from the sea. In that day, it seems that there will be a bad weather coming because of the strong winds. Onding would really love to join his friends, but he thought that it is not the right time to celebrate since his mother is sick. He is afraid that there will be no food on their table to eat, so he still went to fishing, leaving his father to take care of her sick mother. Before he went to fishing, he was advised by his friend not to go fishing, for it is dangerous since the weather is bad and the winds got stronger. But then, Onding didn't listen to his friend. With his small boat and an oil lamp, he continued to go fishing, desperate to catch fish. On his way to the midst of the sea, he noticed that the waves were getting bigger because of the strong winds, and it is also started raining. In his mind, he wanted to go back, for he realized that it is dangerous. He oared fastly as he could to get back to the shore, but the water started spilling into his small boat, making it slowly to shrink. He didn't know what to do, and so he shouted for help, but no one can hear his voice because he was too far to be heard. The next day, the weather is still bad, and his father, together with other fishermen, are worried for him, for he has not yet arrived from the sea. They wanted to search for him, but they were all hesitant because of the bad weather and big waves of the sea. For almost a week, the condition of the sea remained the same with big waves. The residents believed that Onding drowned to death. They also keep on saying that he will no longer be found due to mabalud, big waves of the sea. So since then, the residents called our barangay as Balud because of the big waves of the sea. Whenever the weather is bad and the waves of the sea are big, the fishermen didn't go to fish, for they remember the story of Unding who didn't survive with the big waves of the sea. So next, let's have the online learning worksheet number 4, and it's all about haiku. The date of submission is on September 11, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. and I submitted it on September 10, 2021 at 10 p.m. and the word count is 229. So this haiku has 3 lines and it goes this way. The first line is, it was raining hard with 5 moras. The second line is, the thirsty plant is watered with 7 moras. And the third line is, it grew the next day with 5 moras. So here is the explanation. This haiku represents about the life of a person. In the first line, the rain represents the family, friend, or acquaintance that is ready to help the person overcome the problems he is struggling with. In the second line, the plant represents the person. The person is described as thirsty because we all know that life is not easy. In life, we don't always experience happiness, but we also experience hardships, problems, and challenges. And in this line, the struggling person got helped by his family member or a friend. In the third line, it was described that on the next day, the plant grew. The growth of the plant represents success. We all know that with the help and support from our loved ones, we can overcome those hardships. The lesson for this haiku is that we should not lose hope in life. Just like, for example, we might be struggling and experiencing challenges right now, but let us always bear in our mind that these challenges will help us to be stronger, bolder, and be a better person in the future. We should not give up in life. We should always be positive and ask guidance from God. Let us ask advices and help from our loved ones for us to be strong and overcome these challenges, because at the end of the day, problems are meant to be solved. So now, let's move on to the online learning worksheet number 6, and it's all about book or movie review. The date of submission is on October 9, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. and I submitted it on October 9, 2021 at 10 p.m. and the word count is 692. So the title of the movie is Aladdin, which is a 2019 movie. And the summary of the movie is, the movie is all about Aladdin, who was just a poor street thief with his monkey friend Abu, until he met Jasmine, the princess of Agrabah, to whom he fell in love with. It is in the law of Agrabah that a princess can only marry a prince. When he was trapped in the Cave of Wonders to get the lamp, he met the magic carpet and genie. He then asked Genie to use his first wish to turn him into a prince so he could marry Jasmine. Aladdin and Genie was also in a mission to stop the evilness of Jafar, who is a royal vizier of the Sultan and who only wants to use the lamp for power and wealth. He has also plans to invade other neighboring kingdoms. When Aladdin finally defeated Jafar, he used his third wish to set the genie free. At last, when everything was back to normal, Aladdin won Jasmine's heart and they got married. So now, let's come with the impression. My impression with the movie is, it is fun to watch since I like fiction stories. After watching, I can say no negative feedback because I love the movie so much. This movie is good for everyone regardless of age, gender, and religion. I like how the actors portrayed the characters and their acting was great. I love this movie because there is beauty in the cinematography, editing, and costume. It has also songs such as Arabian Nights, Friend Like Me, and A Whole New World, which made the movie aesthetically appealing and fun to watch. And now let's move on to the major event. In the major event, there are two most striking scenarios that I got from the movie. The first scene is when Princess Jasmine sang Speechless. We all know that she has experienced being discriminated and oppressed. A princess like her is viewed to be weak and can never be a sultan who has the power to rule the kingdom. She is being forced to marry off a random prince and doesn't have the right to choose to whom she wants to marry. I was impressed in this scene where she sang Speechless because it highlights that the women should also be heard. She fights that the women should not stay silent and be oppressed by male authorities. This scene proved that she has a strong character and made the people realize that a princess like her can offer something and can also lead a kingdom. The second scene is when Aladdin asks his third wish to set the genie free. I was touched by this scene because Aladdin fulfilled his promise to set the genie free. This scene made me realize the essence of true friendship, and we should also keep our promises. And now let's move on to the plot patterns. I observed that the movie Aladdin follows the rags to riches plot patterns. It is because in the exposition of the movie, Aladdin is living in a harsh condition of society and he experienced being oppressed by other people. But in the end of the story, after he defeated Jafar, he was able to win the heart of Jasmine and they got married. He achieved a better life and he might be the one to take over he might be the one to take over of being a sultan of Agrabah. And now let's move on to the conclusion. In conclusion, this movie is one of the best movie I ever watched, and if I were to rate this movie, I will give 98 out of 100. I would also recommend it to my family and friends for them to enjoy because this movie is interesting and there are so many lessons they can get. The lessons I learned after watching is being true to ourselves. We don't need to pretend someone else for us to be accepted and loved just like what Aladdin did. It made me realize that the right person will accept and love us no matter who we are. Also, it showcased the importance of friendship. It's nice to have a friend like Jenny who will always be at our side in good and bad times. Just like how Aladdin and Genie overcome the challenges together and remained friends until the end. They both they both show us the true meaning of friendship. So now, let's move on to the online learning worksheet number 7 and it's all about problem-based learning. The date of submission is on October 23, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. and I submitted it on October 26, 2021 at 9 p.m. and the word count is 971. And the title is The Visitation of God's Death of Filipino Idealism. So now, let's move on to the identify. The Visitation of Gods is a story about the reality of education in the Philippines. It talks about how public schools conceal the imperfections of the school to impress the gods or the higher up of the Department of Education. Teachers are not being passionate and responsible on their job. They are hungry for money and position, albeit they are doing their job, such as teaching 5 times a week, more than 6 hours a day. But is that the only work of a teacher? Teacher must ensure that the students learn from them and nurture the learner's future. However, this opened the eye of the readers on what is happening on the educational system of the Philippines today. The general cleaning of the public schools, every time the head announces the school visitation, the scripted response of the students when an evaluation and some activities that the school performance are involved, and even go far by leaking the answers of the test. These are just few of the things that public schools do to impress the gods. The improvement of the standard of the Philippines education is not maintained. The teachers forgot the essence of the teacher and was consumed by greed and became selfish. Thus, the problem that arises in the story is the death of Filipino idealism. So now, let's move on to the investigate. The problem about the death of Filipino idealism is still existing up until this time and surely will continue to exist in the future if we will keep this kind of practice in our education system. This problem has become a culture in our education system and still occurs especially in most schools in the provinces. Just like what we have experienced and observed in our elementary and high school years, that whenever our school is informed that there will be a visitation of district or division supervisors for the purpose of evaluation, the principal and teachers will tend to exert too much effort just to please them. They conduct general cleaning and focus on the beautification of the school, telling the students to behave and participate during class discussion and giving answer keys of tests to students just to get a high remark and to impress the gods. The problem with this setup is that the teachers don't want to get embarrassed and show the flaws of the schools, and so they try to hide them, and because they want to satisfy the gods and have a good impression to them. It will be difficult to eradicate this kind of problem since it already become a practice or culture of the teachers and students to do it when there is a visitation of the gods. So now, let's move on to the explore. The story depicts the reality of Filipino idealism is that in the administration of public schools. The impact of the hierarchy of powers among supervisors, principals, and teachers can be seen in the story. The author used the term gods to refer to the supervisors and superintendents who are simply intended to evaluate the school. The word references to individuals in positions of authority, power, and influence, as well as how those in lower levels reacted to their arrival. It is commendable that we, as a democratic nation, understand the value of education because democracy cannot run without educated citizens. However, in our collective consciousness, there is still a persistent misperception about the significance of education, where in fact knowledge can be used for evil and selfish gain, but wisdom aids us in resisting this temptation. Now, let's move on to the utilize. One of the traditions we have up till now is that whenever someone is in a higher position visits schools, we tend to go beyond just to impress them. We even strive to instruct our pupils on proper behavior, such as avoiding loitering or going outside of the room, so that we, we demonstrate to our guests that we are disciplined when entertaining them. The story now merely depicts the Filipino attitude toward competitiveness. One's quest for personal and professional growth can often be misunderstood as a threat to another man's position or authority. It's more likely to be viewed as bragging. It's almost as if good government employees are punished for doing their jobs, while bad employees are rewarded for doing things other than their jobs. And lastly, let's move on to the develop. As implied in the story of the visitation of the gods, changing the negative culture in the educational system will be difficult, close to impossible. This can be observed when Mr. Sawit told Miss Noel that she is just like the young teachers who is idealistic and will soon learn to bend to the system. This is where the death of idealization this is where the death of idealism is portrayed when a young visionary is being devoured by harsh reality. It is showing it is showing how deeply rooted the culture of be, nepotism, palakasan, crony, cronyism, and other negative custom in our educational system. Though there are mandates to end this like DO 35 S 2011, still it continues to plug the educational system because this is how it has always been. To change this, there should be a significant modification in the educational institution and system. It will involve change in structure, strategy, policies, procedures, technology, and culture. The changes in these aspects might bring forth for a great shift in in the environment of our schools and in the quality of education that can be provided to the students. However, this will not be possible if the people, the important player in the operation of the educational system, are committed in acquiring too much needed change. In the story, it shows that these people are also cause of the problem. They are they are spreading the negative culture and hindering change. Therefore, no matter how many suggestions and proposal is recommended, there is there is little hope in solving these issues because we cannot guarantee that they will implement it. So now, let's move on to the online learning worksheet number 8, and it's all about essay. So the date of submission is on October 31, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. and I submitted it on October 31, 2021 at 8 p.m. and the word count is 546. So the title of my essay is The Benefits of Getting Vaccinated Against COVID-19. The COVID-19 virus is one of the biggest problems we are confronted nowadays. There are certain measures that we followed, such as wearing a face mask and observing social distancing to protect us and lessen the spread of the virus. But the best way to protect ourselves from the COVID-19 is by getting vaccinated. We all know that some people are afraid and hesitant to get vaccinated because of the misconception such as injecting COVID-19 vaccine will turn humans into zombies and the myth that researchers rushed the development of the COVID-19 vaccine so its effectiveness and safety cannot be trusted. It is really important for us to get a COVID-19 vaccine for we know that this virus has been devastating our lives. And there are also benefits of after getting vaccinated against the virus. First is that it helps keep us from getting the COVID-19 virus. The COVID-19 vaccines have been shown to be highly effective at preventing the virus. If we become infected with the virus, vaccination appears to limit the risk of developing severe or even fatal symptoms. By getting vaccinated, we may also protect the people around us. It can lessen the chance of spreading the virus into our family members, friends, and other people. Second is COVID-19 vaccination is a safer way to help build protection. Getting a COVID-19 vaccine may offer natural protection known as immunity. When vaccinated, the body's immune system will be activated to recognize the invading virus and produce antibodies. This means that if we are exposed to the dangerous virus in the future, our immune system should respond immediately to destroy it with antibodies, thus protecting thus protecting against the virus. Third is vaccination is an important tool to help stop the pandemic. As we can see, wearing the face masks, hand washing, and practicing social distancing help reduce our chance of being exposed to the virus or spreading it to others, but these measures are not enough. The best way is to get vaccinated because the vaccine works with our immune system, so it will be ready to fight the virus if ever we are exposed to the virus. Lastly, it will also be an advantage to those who were fully vaccinated because they can finally start doing some of the things they love to do before the pandemic, such as gathering in a home or in a private setting. Some people can now travel domestically without the need of showing negative test results in COVID-19 tests. The fully vaccinated students can also attend the limited face-to-face classes in the future. In conclusion, the vaccine is incredibly important not only for us individuals but also to community. The vaccines are safe and effective because they are tested to thousands of volunteers and underwent rigorous clinical trials before they are approved. So before they are approved, so no need for us to be hesitant and afraid. If we don't want to get infected if we don't want to get infected with COVID-19 virus and we do care about the safety of others, then we better get vaccinated. Let's all get vaccinated for it is the best solution to help this pandemic and to get back to a normal way of life. And lastly, let us have the online learning worksheet number 9, and it's all about poetry analysis. So the date of submission is on November 16, 2021 at 11:59 p.m. and I submitted it on November 16, 2021 at 10 p.m. And the word count is 1019. So the title of the poem is Huring by Gray Monaris. So here it goes. Ma, nakainumdum ka pa, hanmangga, haluyuhan at balay, di ba didto kami permihan ak kabugtuan nananak lang, ngan permi mo gihap kami gimbibinusaan, kung nakita ka nga nagtitikay taasan ang pagsak lang, o di gani nagpapalanatay kami. Pero bis makausa waray good haam, may nataktak o napiang, sanglithan nagahangin nga nag-uuran, nga nagkaabot ang balod, ginano mo nga ikaw laan nakakapyot nga nabuhi. So now, let's move on to the gist. In my own opinion, the poem is all about the importance of listening and obeying to the advices of our parents in our life. It also showcased the love of a mother to her children despite of their stubbornness and disobedience. It also emphasized that in life, we will encounter problems and and wrong decisions, but all we have to do is to listen with the advices of our parents, for they are more knowledgeable than us. They know what is the best for us and will guide us in making the right decisions in life. And now let's move on to the poetic and literary devices. The poem is a free verse poem because it doesn't follow a specific pattern or rhyme scheme. There is no set length of lines or stanzas in the poem. The first stanza is a quatrain because it has 4 lines. The second stanza is a seplet because it has 7 lines. The third stanza is a sestet because it has 6 lines. Lastly, the fourth stanza is a quatrain because it has 4 lines. There are some literary devices that can be found in the poem. It has rhyme in the 6th and 7th line in the second stanza, but in the end of the 2 lines has rhyme, because the end of the 2 lines has rhyme. It has anaphora because the word nan in the start of 2 consecutive lines in the third stanza and the word han in the 2 consecutive lines in the first stanza are repeated. It has also assonance because the vowel with the a with the sound of a in the last line in the third stanza are repeated. It has also consonants because the consonant with the sound k in the fourth line in the second stanza are repeated. Now, let's move on to the symbolism or imagery. In my own opinion, the mango tree in the first stanza symbolizes temptation because just like in the poem, the persona and his siblings were advised by his mother to stop climbing in the mango tree for it can cause harm to them when they fall from the tree. In my own opinion, in the second stanza, the word ginbibinosaan, which means scalded in English, symbolizes the love and care of a mother because she doesn't want her children to fall from the tree and be injured. Just like how when we are often scolded by our mother for us not to do again the things that are wrong and could harm us. In my own opinion, the lines in the third stanza which states that the strong wind, strong rain, and the waves from the sea came symbolizes problems and struggles in life. We all know that in life, we don't always feel happy. There are also times that we encounter challenges and problems that make us sad. All we have to do is to be positive in life and have the courage to overcome those problems. Now, let us have the line by line or the stanza analysis. The first is the first stanza, the persona is asking his mother if she still remember the mango tree in her backyard. I can say that the mango tree has a big part of the persona's life, especially during his childhood days. In the second stanza, I see the love of a mother towards his children because she keeps on scolding and giving advices to her children not to climb or go to the top of the mango tree because they might fall and get injured. There is nothing more painful for a mother to see her children suffering in pain. Just like when we were advised by our parents to stay away from our friends because they see them as bad influence to us. They are doing this because they love us and it is for our own good. In the third stanza, for me, the persona and his siblings are really stubborn and didn't listen to the advices of their mother because they keep on climbing the mango tree. I'm proud that no one of them fell and get injured. We all know that sometimes we disregard the advices of our mother when we are happy with the things we are doing. But only after something bad happens to us, that is the only time we will realize that we should have followed the advices of our mother. Also, time changes and nothing is permanent. There are also times that we will experience problems and struggles in life and will make us feel down and depressed. In the fourth stanza, it is interesting for me because the persona is asking his mother as to how did she hold on and survive with those problems. The fact that the persona asked question to his mother about how she survived made me realize that maybe the title of the poem is Huring, which means whisper in English, is because the persona wants to know the secrets of her mother on how to survive. We all know that there are still a lot of things that children don't know about life, that their learning and that their learning and experiences are still limited. Like for instance, when there is a storm surge that will easily like for instance, when there is a storm surge, they will easily get drowned because they don't know how to swim. There are there are still so much lessons they have to learn in order to survive life. Lastly, in life, we could overcome the problems and struggles by listening and obeying to the advices of our parents because they have already encountered so much problems in life. And lastly, the morals of the poem. The morals of the poem is that we should always listen and obey the advices of our parents, for they know what is the best for us. Our parents had experienced so much life challenges and they want to share their learnings for us, not to commit mistakes. What they are doing is for our own good. They wish nothing but to see us safe, happy, and living a good life. Also, also, we should treasure the time that we have them at our side because we don't know what will happen in the future. Maybe one day we wake up and they are no longer at our side. So that's all, and thank you for watching.